What is good, YouTube? I hope you guys are having a great day. If you're new here, my name is Ravani. If you're returning, what's good, Rave babes? So since my last video, it has been a bit of a minute. The last time I seen you guys, I had just found out that I was pregnant, and as of today, I am officially in my second trimester. Yeah, I left you guys for a whole trimester. I know y'all family and all, but don't be mad at me. I have my reasons. So today we are here to talk about those reasons. Before I want to start, I'm going to let you guys know that as you can see, we have a change of scenery here. If you know this background, it means that you follow my mother. If you do not, you definitely should. Her link will be down below in the description box. Make sure you follow her. Whenever she is in this room and she's like this, you know that means she's going to run that mouth. So guess what I'm about to do? Run my mouth, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it. So basically, like I said, the last time I talked to you guys, I just found out I was pregnant. I got it on camera. And as of today, I am in my second trimester. My first trimester was very rough, a little traumatizing. I learned a lot of new things about myself. I had a lot of health problems, a lot of health scares, and I am still dealing with that to this day. Some of them have kind of not been as bad, but other ones I am still seeing doctors and specialists for these issues now that I have now gotten. So let's talk about it. So when I found I was pregnant in June, we ended up going on vacation and everything was okay. By the end of vacation, I started to develop some cramps, some little bit of pains, but I didn't really think too much of it just because I know that pregnancy sucks. You know, the stretching of the uterus. Excuse me, I haven't had a nap today. But yes, I know that these issues do come along with pregnancy, so I didn't really pay any mind. However, when we got back and I started going back to work, I started to notice some things that were just a little bit more difficult for me, such as I had a lot of motion sickness. I had a lot of fatigue, some extreme nausea, some extreme vomiting, and really bad headaches. So when I went to have my very first OBGYN appointment, my blood pressure was elevated. And this was a concern not only to the doctor, but definitely for me, because I do not have a history of high blood pressure. I have never had high blood pressure, not even with my previous pregnancy or even the fact that I have a higher BMI. I have never had high blood pressure. I've always had pretty perfect blood pressure, like 110s, 108, over like 70s. I've never had anything higher than that. So it was pretty concerning that my blood pressure was like 150s, 160s over like 90s, with the highest getting up to 199 over 112. And all I had been doing was sitting. So these are pretty concerning things to my doctor. They started me on a blood pressure medication that did change 3 times. It went from me doing it once a day to me doing 2 times a day to taking 3 times a day, as well as the strength changing because my blood pressure was uncontrolled, as well as me being symptomatic from having uncontrolled high blood pressure, such as protein in my urine, the headaches, the blurred vision, all of these type of things. So it was very important for them to get my blood pressure under control. During these times as well, I was having issues working because I was unable to sit for long periods of time. I was also unable to really walk without being easily winded and my blood pressure going up. So of course they naturally wanted me to cease having strenuous activity, and being that I work in the hospital in the emergency room, it's kind of hard for you to cease having strenuous activity. So I was benched and put on bed rest. And shortly after that, I developed a intrauterine hemorrhage. So that also contributed to me being on bed rest. I know I was telling you guys in my last video that I was having increased hunger. This kind of did go on. However, with me having the issues with the hyperemesis, it was really hard to eat. And with me also having motion sickness and being unable to really sit up, I pretty much was laying down all day. It was really hard to eat, so I would literally get up to eat and then immediately lay back down, because if I got up to eat, if I was empty, like I did not have anything on my stomach, I was super nauseous and throwing up. All this talking is making me nauseous now. But yes, so when I would have an empty stomach, I'll be super nauseous. I would eat, and then from laying up to eat, I would get super nauseous, so I would have to immediately lay back down. Nothing was really helping. Chips, crackers, bread, nothing was really helping me. I kind of relied on Lunchables a lot because I could sit them on the side of my bed and not have to worry about them going bad before I could get to it. And with the crackers, the meat, the cheese, it kind of held me down to be able, it's not too sweet, which really I can't do sweets right now. I can't drink juice. I can only drink water and milk, but even with milk, I have to follow it up with water. So it's super crazy. So I'm eating a lot of savory things, a lot of things that can kind of stay in my stomach longer. But I am constantly hungry, so I do constantly have to make sure I have something available for me to eat that's easy, because strong smells, super textured foods, sweet foods, like even when it comes to sauce, I just can't do. I'm gravitating more towards spicy, savory things. To kind of help me, which is different from my first pregnancy because I couldn't eat spicy foods at all. Whereas now I want hot sauce and hot wing sauce and all those kind of things, like on everything. It's insane. But getting back to the health problems, when I was in the hospital, I was going to the hospital about every week, as well as going to the hospital. And when I say hospital, I mean the ER every week. I was also seeing my OBGYN every week. I had an appointment every week, and that money was coming out of my pocket every week as well. Those co-payments were hitting me, but I had to make sure baby was okay. I had to make sure, I was okay. So after the hemorrhage, I had blood tests drawn, and I already knew I was anemic, but they had more concerns of my anemia, concerns about sickle cell, and concerns about bone marrow issues, because all of my cells were abnormal, and I was super anemic. My hemoglobin was very low. So they wanted me to follow up with a hematologist, which I am. I'll get to that in a minute. But as far as my OBGYN, they were concerned for early onset preeclampsia because of my blood pressure, as well as the protein in my urine, the extreme fatigue, the pain. Some days I'm unable to walk, the palpitations, like all of these issues that I was having in my first trimester just were not typical, and they wanted to rule out early onset preeclampsia. So they referred me to a specialist. It was a bit of back and forth getting me into the specialist just because of insurance issues. And then scheduling, location, it was just a lot. And it took a few weeks for me to be able to finally get an appointment. But once I was there, that was an issue in itself. I had a really bad appointment. The unfortunate thing about healthcare is that the truth that people don't want to talk about, especially being that I work in healthcare, is healthcare professionals treat, and I'm not saying all, but especially even management, you'd be surprised how many times when you clock in for your shift, they tell you which one of your patients is related to somebody that's a higher up, or which one of your patients is a doctor or a nurse or works in healthcare or is related to someone in healthcare, because they want you to give them special treatment and be more aware of what you're doing. But they don't do that for other people. It's just kind of expected that you do your job. And I don't like that. Please don't tell me who's related to who and what their job profession is, because I don't care. Everybody gets the same treatment from me. You're not going to get overly special treatment over my other patients just because you're related to the CEO. That's just not reality. It's not morally right. But unfortunately in healthcare, that seems to happen in every healthcare setting I've ever been in. And so when I get seen by professionals, I do not tell them that I'm a nurse. In extreme cases, I will, because you're not going to play in my face. But I typically don't, because I don't want to I shouldn't be treated differently based off the fact that I'm a nurse. So I had a high risk appointment, and the doctor pretty much talked to me as if I was a young, dumb Black girl, and nothing I knew or was talking about was of any concern. My OBGYN office, all of the doctors are primarily Black. There's one that is, I believe she's Indian. So it's a practice that's ran by brown people. And the high risk specialist that I went to see was white. And she pretty much dismissed everything that my OBGYNs were concerned for. If you have any knowledge about preeclampsia, then you know that preeclampsia is usually characterized by high blood pressure, uncontrolled high blood pressure, protein in your urine, extreme fatigue, nausea, vomiting, pain. These things lead to eclampsia, which also can lead to HELLP syndrome, which also can lead to death of mother and baby. So these are pretty serious things that you have to look out for. These are usually things that are diagnosed after the 20th week of pregnancy. However, just because they're usually diagnosed within about the 20th week of pregnancy and after, usually closer to their birth, does not mean that it is uncommon for early onset preeclampsia, which is what my OBGYN was concerned about. Now, this doctor pretty much told me that my high blood pressure could have been due to my high BMI, and now I have chronic hypertension that I've developed post finding out that I was pregnant, which, I mean, if you've never had high blood pressure before and all of a sudden that you turn out to be pregnant and all of a sudden you have high blood pressure, that's a red flag, but she didn't see it as one. She said that I most likely developed kidney damage from the elevated blood pressure. Kidney damage typically takes years to just have. I developed it in a couple weeks. She thinks that's just normal. And that's what she's saying, is that I have kidney damage, and that's why I have protein in my urine, because I have chronic hypertension and it's damaged my kidneys in a matter of weeks. To the point where, like, I literally had a pretty fine urinalysis, and then 2 weeks later I had a really bad UTI, really bad. Like, my labs looked like shit, just out the blue, you know, really bad. But you know, big Black girl, hypertension is hereditary, and it's mostly seen in Black people. So, and she was also concerned for me doing early glucose testing for a higher BMI, even though I've never had issues with my glucose, and it wasn't really a concern at that time, especially given the fact that just a week prior, actually not even a week prior, a couple of days prior, because I went to the hospital for passing out on the floor, and my extremities going numb. My glucose was fine then too. I've never had elevated glucose, but you know, big black girl, you know. So it was a really bad experience. I don't plan on going back. Yeah, so with that being said, like I said, I've also had issues with my legs going numb, not being able to feel them, my legs feeling extremely cold. Just luckily I'm on bed rest so that I don't have to walk a lot, and my family has been rotating the jobs of babysitting me. So if my boyfriend is at work for, you know, his 16-hour shifts, I'll be with my mom or Dante, just to make sure that somebody has eyes on me at all times. I'm not home alone, especially after I was found on the floor. And my ambulance ride wasn't that great either. I didn't get better care until they realized, once I got to the hospital, that I worked in that ER. Then all of a sudden, you know, they just needed to make sure I was okay, even though in my ambulance ride, I was pretty much halfway on the floor the entire ride, because they didn't believe me when I said that I could not feel my extremities and I could not lift myself up, even though I was incoherent pretty much and not speaking clearly, and I couldn't even stand up to walk or get myself dressed or really move. It's just been really rough. It's pretty scary as well, knowing that it's more likely for a Black woman to die in childbirth. And I will be having, you know, a scheduled C-section. So with the high blood pressure, with everything I have going on, I am more predisposition to have clots. You know, it's just a bunch of scary things. And yeah, so these are issues that just concern me that I've had to, who in the world? Yeah. So I don't want this to all be super negative. I'm just sharing my experience that I've had so far in my first trimester and the troubles that I've been facing. On the bright side, baby is healthy, baby is growing, strong heartbeats. We have a gender. Baby does carry the trait of thalassemia that it got from me, for alpha thalassemia. That is what I'm following up with my hematologist. Sorry, my camera died. But like I was saying, baby did get the trait of thalassemia, which is what I am following up with my hematologist for, which is what they found when I went to the ER after my after my hemorrhage. They found, you know, like the abnormal blood cells. And I went to follow up with a hematologist, and of course I am severely anemic. I get weekly infusions of iron. I just had my second infusion. I have 3 more weeks to go of infusions, and then they'll retest me to see if my hemoglobin has came up and what's really going on. At that time also, I will be figuring out which kind of thalassemia I have. I know that I'm a carrier for alpha thalassemia, but there's 4 different types of alpha thalassemia, so that should tell me what kind of alpha thalassemia I have, and that will help go on with how they plan on treating it. This is super important because, as you know, I'm symptomatic. I'm having these issues, but also because being that I will be having a C-section or even just giving birth in general, you lose a lot of blood. And I really would prefer not to have a blood transfusion, but if it is necessary, I will have one. But if I can do things during my pregnancy to prevent that, because that makes me have a safer pregnancy, if my hemoglobin is where it is and I don't bleed out, then that's what we're gonna do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we're still waiting for the results of that. Within a couple days, we will be having the gender reveal, which is where our families are going to come together. It's going to be really small, really intimate. It's literally just our families and some of them meeting for the first time. And that'll be super exciting. And we're going to come out and tell our families then what the gender is. My mom is hosting it, so she knows the gender, I know the gender, and that's about it. The positive side is that even though it was rough, we were able to discover some things about my health that we can help treat now to prevent further issues later, if you know what I mean. As well as, you know, making sure that we have a healthy baby. And even though I've been going through all of these issues with my health, the baby is still thriving. Baby is still fine. I have my next appointments in about 5 days, and then on that 6th day is our gender reveal. So it's super exciting. My mom did tell me that I would be showing early, which she did not lie, with this being my second baby. I definitely started showing way sooner than I did with Kai, so that was kind of exciting for my boyfriend. He's head over heels about everything. Like, he talks about this pregnancy nonstop. If I was to have told him the gender, he probably would have told the whole world by now. So he can't know the secret. He's just excited. And I love that for us, being that with Kai's dad, I did everything by myself. And to this day, I am still a single parent. I do everything by myself when it comes to Kai as far as parent-wise. So actually having a partner this time where they are excited. I know that he'll be a great dad, and our relationship is really good for the most part. The you know, merging households and, you know, those typical relationship things, you know. But overall, after everything, like, we we're pretty solid and we share a lot of the same values. So I have no doubt at all that we're going to be in it for the long haul. And I'm super excited for him because I know that he wanted a baby, and I know how excited he is about this baby and his family too. Majority of my family is rooting for a girl. His family is rooting for, half of them is rooting for a girl, half of them is rooting for a boy. So it's just everywhere. Everybody's just super excited. So baby will be definitely loved on both sides and get to experience love and family from both sides. So I'm excited for the baby for that. There's so many things with this pregnancy, like I said, that's different than the first, as well as I know that there's certain things after I have the baby that will be different that I want to do than I did with Kai. Like I want to be able to make my own baby food, and I want to be able to breastfeed for at least a year. I know to stay clear of birth control because I dried up my milk last time. I'm just super excited, you know, like Kai's excited to be a big brother. This has just been a huge adjustment in such a short period of time, but it's been pretty good. It's been pretty scary, but it's also been pretty good. So yeah, if there's anything that I didn't touch on that you have questions about or advice about, or, you know, anything like that, make sure you leave a comment down below. I thank you all for all of your kind words and checking on me. I see your comments on my mom's page, all the prayers, everything. I am super grateful for. Just continue to pray that I have a healthy pregnancy. We have a healthy baby. It won't be another trimester before I check in, but because things are more so on the upside now, and I've been feeling a lot better. And yeah, so I will continue to bring you guys along for this journey because it's not just my baby, it's our baby. We're a family. You guys let me know that all the time. So yeah, go ahead and leave comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're new here. I am excited to share my journey with you guys, and I will see you guys in a couple days at my gender reveal. Bye.